Get ready, Pittsburgh, because Philadelphia is set to invade. Philly Invades Pittsburgh Beer Fest is back for its second installment on Saturday, September 14th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Spoonwood Brewing in Bethel Park. Hosted by breweries in Pennsylvania, this event features some of the best beer the east side of the Commonwealth has to offer. Grab your tickets and sip on beers from Imprint, Hidden River, Rebel Hill, Lost Tavern, Levante, Stable 12, and New Trail. Head over to Facebook and search Philly Invades Pittsburgh Beer Fest for more information and reserve your tickets before this event sells out.
Woe to you, O earth and sea.
It's the Hop Nation
USA Podcast.
We've got live mics.
Okay.
Did you just grab a fly out of thin air?
Yes. Miyagi that shit.
Just another day. Normally we're closer.
I know.
You feel so far away.
You guys want to hold hands through this thing?
I just fist bump him whenever he has a good joke. Because it doesn't happen every episode, but when it does, I want to acknowledge Adam. When he does hit it, he hits it out of the park.
All right. You hit the button?
We're already going. I got that whole tirade.
Okay.
Nice.
He said, I'm looking at no.
It's episode 122 of the Hop Nation USA podcast, and I am joined by my co-host, Adam.
As always.
And our guest host, Dennis.
What I do, bugaboos?
From First Sip Brew Box. And we are in a special location today. You may hear a little bit of an echo going on because we are in a very unfinished space, surrounded by sawdust, saws, power drills, refrigeration equipment, all kinds of great things that you would build a brewery with, because we are, in fact, inside the future location of Sly Fox down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. You can add that.
I will add that.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know. A lot of people have said our state or our city is very beautiful after visiting. So, yeah.
That's true.
Yes,
One of the best skylines in the country.
Yes. But
And the best reveal coming through the Fort Pitt tunnels.
Oh, man.
according to Bill Burr.
Nice little build up too.
Yeah.
Make it dramatic.
But because we are down here at Sly Fox, the future space for Sly Fox,
The future.
we are obviously joined by representatives of Sly Fox. And right now, I'll just give our main representative a chance to introduce himself to the world.
What's up, guys? Hey, I'm Ryan with Sly Fox. Well, thank you guys for coming down. I'm happy to be on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Anytime. Looking forward to trying some beers together and telling you guys a little bit about what Sly Fox is all about.
Right on. Why don't you tell the people exactly what you do for Sly Fox? Because I know you work out of the main Pottstown location, but you're visiting as this place gets up and running.
Yeah. I actually represent Sly Fox for Central and Western PA. So I do sales distribution promotions. I think what is my title? It is Central and Western PA Market Manager. So basically what fancy. I do is, it is pretty fancy. So what I do is I mainly handle distribution beer. I do events and promotions, and as far as seeing the beer on the shelf at distributors and seeing it on tap at bars, that's my responsibility for Central and Western PA. So we got a crew of other guys that do our home market in Philly and Eastern PA.
Nice.
Right on. Well, since we're at Sly Fox, that means we'll be drinking Sly Fox beers, and I'm going to go right back to Ryan to introduce our first one of the evening.
So our first beer is a staple. It's a classic. Our Pikeland Pils. It's a Northern German Pilsner, and the distinction with that is typical Pilsner, the original Pilsner is Czech Bohemian. Then there's Bavarian Pilsners that are a little hoppier, and then even higher on the hop spectrum is Northern German Pilsners. So we modeled this beer after Jever, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with. It's actually isn't distributed in Western PA, but it's like, other than like Imperial American IPAs like Voodoo Killer Pills, it's like the hoppiest Pilsner that you're going to find. So
I know Adam's hyper excited about this one.
So Ryan, just for your information, of the three of us here that are on the show from time to time, I am the only one that is not a hophead.
Gotcha.
So that's why you're hearing the dissenting votes, so to speak. Is I am the contrarian when it comes to hops.
It is absolutely true. When he heard Pilsner, I saw him get a little excited.
Right.
And then as you broke down the variations and where
Yes.
this one ranks,
Right. So
I saw all the hope leave his face.
No, I still have hope because it's still a Pils.
That's true.
Well,
We're
and
gonna be okay.
here's what's great about it too is it's all noble hops. So
Okay.
you're going to get those nuanced flavors, the earthy and the grassy and the spicy. It's not going to be the punch you in the nose, bitter,
Right,
astringent
like the super
American
resin.
Good.
hops.
Good.
Yes. And there's a
do
malt
have hope.
finish to it as well. It's a balanced beer. So actually,
The Hoppiest Pilsner still wouldn't compare to the Hoppiest IPA.
That is true.
So
Yes.
he might be able to survive this. I think
That's
he'll
a
be
good
able to
point,
survive
Steve.
it.
Listen, if you're gonna make me drink Fulton 300, this is gonna be a breeze.
Oh,
Man.
Fulton 300 doesn't even compare to like 6-point resin.
Okay, yeah, because I will be absent for that show whenever you do that.
Yeah, that would ruin your life.
Yes, it will.
But at that point, like as soon as you try something that hoppy, like you're not drinking it for that. You're drinking it just to say you did it. To update your Untapped rating.
What, the 6-point resin?
Yes.
No, I'll drink that as a regular.
Jesus, Steve.
That shit is so good.
You are a kamikaze pilot.
I could say something really bad, but I'm not going to.
Well, just say it, Adam.
I was gonna say that it's a dick swinging beer. That's all it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's 106 IBUs. At that point, like around 100
That's
IBUs.
insane, man.
Yeah, but around 100 IBUs is when you start losing your ability to like taste the difference. You can't differentiate between 100 and 120.
It's like
Or
some of those like
150.
4K or 8K TVs. If it's on a 32-inch television, it doesn't matter how many
Yeah.
pixels are on there. You cannot tell the difference.
I agree. And I'm not going to because I'm not gonna drink it.
so we actually refreshed those cans recently. They were like a brownish color, and that's probably the most popular iteration of that beer. Like for people that are looking for something that's familiar, we refreshed that about a year and a half ago, I would say. And it's crazy. I mean, this beer is crazy, man. There's like a cult following to this beer. It has been around for a long time, and actually, this was the first ever canned craft beer to ever win at GABF.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Them's facts.
So what I'm hearing is he's bringing the ruckus for us. He's bringing medal award-winning beers on segment 1.
Indeed.
I'm all
Indeed.
about
I like
that.
it.
He's
I
got
like
to win us over.
That's right.
Swinging for the fences.
That's right. 4.9% ABV for those that were wondering. Any idea on what the IBUs are on this?
Put me on the spot. That's a great
Yes, I
question.
am.
I do not know. I'm going to guess somewhere around 20 or 30.
That's not so bad.
So, yeah.
Yeah, see?
That's
the
not so
Hoppiest Pilsner.
Well, that would make sense. The Hoppiest Pilsner being at 30 IBUs.
Right. But looking at it, it looks like a Pilsner. It's very pale. And it has, to use an Adam-ism, it is a VFW looking beer.
Yes, it is.
That's a good ism.
Yeah, visually,
Yeah.
I would agree with that, yeah.
An Atomism.
It's an Adam-ism.
An atomism. That's right. Put that on a T-shirt.
on the nose, I get a little bit of hop on that.
A little bit.
bit
A
of hop.
skosh.
Yeah.
But strong Pilsner
Little fresh.
smell
Little
for
fresh.
sure. Oh, that's a drinker.
That's not okay. All right, it is a little
It's a little hoppy.
hoppy.
But for me and Steve, we probably don't.
No, this doesn't
it's
move
not
the
a lot
needle for
us.
you guys.
For you,
No,
you
we don't.
can still pick up on 30 IBUs.
We don't call that hoppy. We call it flavorful.
right. But for somebody who not necessarily wanting to, but has the contrarian opinion when it comes to hops.
Yeah.
It's the hoppiness is not bad at all. It is not offensive whatsoever. It is,
No.
like you said, balanced.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced, and what it is it's a good drinking beer for people who want to get out of macro because it is more flavorful. Like for Dennis and I, this is just flavorful. It doesn't
Right.
taste like flat. It's not flat. It's not
Lacklusting at all.
Yeah, I hate to, like, I'm trying to break this habit of myself, but, you know, a lot of times people will call macro beer piss beer and stuff like that. I'm trying to break myself of that habit.
You're better than that.
It's so cliche, but it's better than that, so.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad you guys think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, what I like about it is, in my completely unbiased opinion, so since it's a little hoppier than a typical Pils, like when you think of like your Pilsner or Kells of the world and the like, and even Lagunitas Pils, which is on the hop spectrum way up there. But what it does for me is it just gives it a cleaner finish.
Right.
You know, all
I
you
agree with
taste
that.
in this beer is hops and malt, and that's it. And it's a nice, neat little roller coaster ride. And I think for that reason is why it has that that mass appeal because you get flavor, but it's not nothing that's going to be anything that you can't handle, and it's still something you can go back to. And since it's so clean like that, it acts as a really good palate cleanser. It's really good in between courses. It's good with any kind of spicy food, any kind of acidic food. I mean, this beer is so versatile. Clean, crisp. That's definitely the way I always describe the beer. So glad you guys like it.
Yes, for me, the situation I can see this being used extensively is near bodies of water. If you're on a boat at the beach, something like that, this is a good waterborne beer.
Yes.
Go on a float trip. Fill up a cooler with a 12-pack. Go for a couple hours.
When
Have
you
a good
see
time.
yourself down at Sandcastle, go ahead and jump down Lazy River.
Just yelling at the
drink your
kids. Stop splashing.
You spilled my strawberry daiquiri, you asshole.
Something I just learned recently is pretty cool. Neat little hack next time you're shopping for beer. So Pils versus Pilsner, right? I just thought it was kind of arbitrary. I thought certain breweries were making fun of like Mama's Little Yellow Pills. Like you think of stuff like that, but there's a reason. There is a differentiation, and as I learned recently, so Pilsner, original Pilsner is Pilsner Urquell and Czech Bohemian origin, and so the Germans loved the beer, and they took that style, and they're like, hey, we want to try to replicate that. So they made a beer, and they weren't happy with it at first, and they changed it a little bit, changed the recipe. Obviously, the mineral content of the water was different at the time, which they weren't even aware of then. But they were happy with the product they made, but they knew they had changed it. They knew that wasn't what originally Pilsners were. So, in paying respects to the Czechs, they were like, all right, when they make beer, it's Pilsner. When we make beer, it's Pils.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah.
You learn something every day.
I'm glad I listened in on this episode.
That was Reading Rainbow with Ryan from Sly Fox.
Well, there you go. You now have something to post to Reddit, Adam. So
I can get all my fake fantasy points.
You said it as he was pulling up Reddit. It's like you knew him.
Well, there are a few exceptions I've seen to it, like here and there, but for the most, this is 95% of the time I would say that's the reason. When you see Pils, so, and then to make it even more basic, when you see Pils, most likely it's going to be hoppier. You see Pilsner, it's going to be less hoppier.
Okay.
okay, cool.
That's a good tip.
That is a good tip.
Things to keep in mind while you're shopping. Awesome. Well, we just want to move forward, and we're going to talk a little bit about why we're actually here, why the tap room is here. I mean, we're here because the tap room's here.
And they got beer.
Yeah, and they got beer. So now you tell us, why is the tap room here?
Enough said. Cold beer. No, so I mean, it's actually something that we've wanted to do for a long time. Wish it was sooner. So a little bit about us. For those who don't know, we were established in 1995 when there was 250 breweries in the entire country. And same year as Dogfish. I think we were about 3 months before Victory. Same county as Victory too, Chester County. And, it originally just started off as a pub and just sell the beer at the pub and a restaurant as well in Phoenixville, PA. And at one point we acquired a very talented brewer, Brian O'Reilly. And he was like, hey, people in Philly they'll buy kegs of this beer. So he was driving fresh kegs of the beer in a pickup truck down to Philly, and it just kind of organically took off from there, our distribution end of things. And it was never part of the original plan, and so grew to a big behemoth kind of in Philly. And I mean, it's everywhere. When I go there, it's crazy to see it everywhere. I'm like, Sly Fox, that's so cool. You guys know, because I mean, I'm coming from Pittsburgh, and
right.
We're still growing Pittsburgh, and we've been in the Pittsburgh market for about 10 years now, and it's been really well received. We never really gave. I mean, having said that, we never really gave this market the full attention that it deserved until we started my position, which kind of focuses more on Pittsburgh than we really ever have before, and it's been received incredibly well everywhere. So.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
So,
or else we'd just be drinking these beers on the street.
or we'd be trespassing right now.
That's also true.
Yes,
right.
Good for marketing, though.
Yes, it would be trespassing. So, yeah, for those who don't know, we are like in the heart of downtown right now. Like, we're as close as to the point that you can get.
Without being in public land.
Yeah, we can see the point from here. We can see the Fort Pitt Bridge. We can see everything from here. What kind of drew Sly Fox to this position, this location specifically? Because we know we have a lot of other places opening up right now with Brewdog and Platform, and I think Sobel's is opening something up soon.
Yeah.
And Mindful's got a new location coming. So
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, damn.
What drew you to all the way downtown?
So there's a little bit of backstory to that too. So originally, we wanted to we spotted a location, the terminal building off of Carson Street. There is a $100 million renovation going on at that building, and we were fortunate enough to sign the lease to get basically almost half the bottom floor of that place. It's kind of in between Station Square and like South Side, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right next to the 10th Street Bridge, and they're two twin buildings. So they're calling the project the High Line. I guess they want to kind of make it like the New York City version. What happened was that building, it is actually a historic landmark. It was the largest terminal between, I think, Chicago and New York City in the country for 70 years or... It's an old building,
right.
And there has just been, as you have with old buildings like that, a multitude of setbacks. And so when we thought we would be, we thought we would have already been, we were hoping for spring of this year at Highline. And since that hasn't occurred, since it's been delayed, we found this location, and it's just a little 1,700 square foot tap room, and it's just going to kind of be a nice little showroom floor for what we do. And it's incredibly high visibility. So
Oh, absolutely.
Right, yeah.
It was funny because we were coming in, and we came in off of the Fort Pitt Bridge. And for those that are in Pittsburgh, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, guess what? It's a bridge goes into downtown. But it was funny because Steve was giving me directions on how to get here because he was running the GPS, and he just pointed and said, "It's right there." Coming off the bridge, it's literally right there.
Wow,
it can't
right.
be any closer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So it is so easy to get here. It's fantastic. I thought we were going to have to weave our way through downtown and traffic and all that stuff. No, it's right there. Just pull off, get into the garage, go have a beer.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And obviously, tons of people are actually walking to this location. As I look outside, there's 15, 20 people that just came out of nowhere.
Right, for a place that isn't officially open yet.
Little expo permit for all you LCB people out there listening.
Right, yes.
We filed the right paperwork.
That's right. They are legit.
and we have food too. We got nachos and salsa. That's all covered.
It's all on the up and up.
Yes, indeed.
Is the location in the south side, is that still planned for opening up?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's still on track to happen. So at this point right now, we're looking at spring of next year, so 2020. So
spring of 2020.
But what's cool about that is we have so much space there. It's the complete opposite of this place as far as space. And what we're planning on doing is putting in a 7-barrel system, and we're keenly aware that the Pittsburgh craft beer scene is so wildly different than our home market. So we want to make some stuff that is more Pittsburgh-esque, that's more fits into what people want out here.
So just out of curiosity, I don't get out much.
That's true. That's not even a joke.
How would you describe the differences between the Pittsburgh craft beer market and the Philly craft beer market? Without me having to go all the way down to Spoonwood for the tap takeover.
Yes.
Which will be there.
Yes.
Yes, I can give you a condensed version of that. I wasn't even really aware of it until I actually made the trip out to Philly when I started with Sly Fox, and it's so different. I mean, you see the same license plates and inspection stickers, and other than that, that's about all we have in common with that town. And first off, it's just an enormous town. But as far as the beer scene goes, I think it's a little bit more of a mature craft beer scene, meaning like they've been beer nerds for a lot longer than we have in Pittsburgh. I mean, look at 6th Street just 8 years ago maybe, and it's just like we've come a long way,
right?
But still, Philly, the love and adoration for import beers was the first thing that I noticed, and it was like, wow, like the way I feel about import beers in Pittsburgh, it was kind of a bridge that we crossed to get to craft, and once we crossed that bridge, we kind of didn't
left it behind.
Yeah, right. But that was the first thing I noticed, and it just seems like everybody's on the craft beer scene, like even people that you like, even just everybody. It's just part of the community more than it's kind. I mean, I don't want to say it's a niche thing here, but like there's people that don't drink craft beer here. So like for example, I went to an Italian restaurant, which wasn't even like a craft beer forward place. Like they didn't advertise a craft beer. I got an Allagash draft, which we don't have here, and Allagash white. Beautiful beer. So I got it in the perfect stem glass, and I was so blown away. Just the lacing on the glass, and I'm just like, this isn't even like a craft beer place. Like there's places that proclaim to be craft beer bars that don't even do it that well. It's just like their standard for craft beer is just like, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's more ingrained. It's been there longer. There's as I mentioned, there's more of the major, it's a major market for craft breweries. When they seek to expand, that's always one of the first places that they go to. And
that's true. I do see a lot of distro going towards Philly rather than Pittsburgh first. Eventually makes its way over.
Well, like I told the guys, we got Firestone Walker, and I'm all giddy because Pivo Pils, and that's another hoppy Pilsner. And they're just like, yeah. And like that's
old news,
right. But yeah, sorry for the long-winded answer, but that's just
good stuff.
Yeah.
So I was curious as to what the differences were for essentially a city that's 6 hours away.
Right.
I mean, it's just over a couple of mountains and through a couple tunnels.
Yeah, but you know how it is in Pittsburgh. You got to cross the bridge, go through a tunnel. I'm not going to that family reunion.
Total distance 3 miles.
Yeah. If there's 2 tunnels and you got to go, people don't do it in Pittsburgh. Nope. If you got to go into Beaver County for something, nah, I don't have to. Never mind.
You're dead to me.
Yeah. So
You're right, man.
But I mean, that makes a lot of sense though when you think about it, with Trogs and Victory and Sly Fox being around from the 90s. Like that kind of gets ingrained into the community,
right?
A lot easier, a lot quicker. I mean, Penn and Church are our oldest ones out here.
Before you slip into Iron City.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and then you still got to fight the old mentality of blue collar. I mean, nothing.
A shot and a beer.
Yeah, nothing against people who drink Boilermakers.
Right.
I still do, but
right. I was gonna say, been there, done that.
Yeah.
You ain't going to work tomorrow if you're hammering Boilermakers.
Nah, you throw that up to my grandpa. He used to work at the.
They did that at work, Steve.
Yeah. He did it at work and then after work. My grandpa used to work. He worked the Cary furnaces.
Damn,
and they do Boilermakers, and then they go back to work for 12 hours and then die from lung cancer. But
no, but their livers had 6-packs. Like
their livers were strong as fuck.
Strong AF.
Yeah.
But to your point, Steve, I actually bring it back into this Pils from Sly Fox. I think this is a good segue beer, right? For a lot of those folks that are used to drinking that Iron City to getting a little bit more in there to lead them down the craft beer rabbit hole. I think that's perfect.
And I think the term that we use is a gateway beer.
Yes.
Which is absolutely perfect since we are, in the Gateway Center.
Right.
Oh, I like it. See, this is where Adam does well. He reads things and looks around.
I had to read signs to find out where
people don't do that.
Right on. So you have this space down here, and it's still a little unfinished. When do you expect this place to be finished?
So 300 Liberty Avenue. We are anticipating mid-September. So about 2-3 weeks from now.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And I know you've brought a couple people with you today that you just wanted to kind of give them a chance to tell like what they're doing here. You're the marketing manager, so give you a chance to introduce somebody else that is going to be working on the team. They'll be working here, right?
Yes.
Like in this space.
Yeah, so we have 2 guys with us today pouring on the patio. One of them is Mike Keefe. He's the director of restaurant operations for us. So he's actually helping us open this location. And then once we kind of leave the nest, he's going to go back out to Eastern PA. But we also have with us tonight who will be our general manager, Kyle McCauley.
So we're joined right now by Mike Keefe, and he is the director of restaurant operations. I just wanted to give you a chance to introduce like kind of what you're going to be doing here with this tap room. And like Ryan already mentioned, once things are up and running, you're going to go back. But like, how do you get a place like this up and running?
Well, it's been a great challenge so far. This is our first place in Pittsburgh, and so we're glad to be here. We're at 300 Liberty, and we are just really excited to be downtown. So the first step was to get the smaller location up and running. so we could help to support Ryan with a tap house, so people could come in and really sit down and taste the beers and enjoy the products. So we found this location. It was a previous pizza place. So mainly cosmetic changes, but we are putting in a 12 tap draft system, and we're going to do Pennsylvania wine and spirits, hand tossed pizza,
Right on.
sandwiches and salads. So and just 12 great beers. So it's going to work out just really well. They have a from scratch kitchen, a very basic menu, but they do sandwiches, salads, pizza. They do special appetizers and things. I mean, they do some great specials weekly, things of that nature. So we're bringing the model of that down, where we'll do those pizzas and those types of things. I mean, we have a great kielbasa pizza, which is a barbecue sauce, and smoked kielbasa, cheddar cheese, and caramelized onions. I mean, that one is coming. I mean, we could not open a Sly Fox and not have that pizza.
I saw Steve's face
But what we're doing too is that since we're coming here, we're gonna do pierogi pie. So we're gonna do diced pierogies and bacon and scallion and sour cream.
Okay.
I mean, cheddar cheese.
like
It's
you just
gonna
logged
be
into
like a
Pornhub.
loaded baked potato on the hand tossed pizza crust, and we are super excited to do that. But
You are not the only one. That sounds fantastic.
so I mean, it's a small place. We don't have a fryer, so we're gonna do pierogies. We're gonna do an oven baked pierogi with all of our wing sauces, and we have a great wing sauce that everybody has to try, and it's called a sexy barbecue sauce. That's literally sexy pierogies is what you're gonna get when you come to 300 Liberty. Damn. And it's a sweet and savory and salty and sticky sauce, and it goes great on everything, and just goes super with beer. And so come to Sly Fox for a sexy barbecue pierogi. But just to expand, chip chop ham is on the menu.
Little Isley's?
Yep, Isley's. I mean, hey, we're here pouring beer, waiting for the build out to be done, and I'm asking everybody, hey, what should we do? What should we do? What's a Pittsburgh kind of thing to do? So they're like, well,
you took me back to my childhood.
Yeah,
like, waiting in that deli line. My mom's
So,
like, don't ask for nothing. You ain't getting nothing.
So chip chop ham, we're doing it. We're doing Isley's too. We're not gonna sub it out. We're gonna
Go with the OGs.
We're gonna get the real stuff. So those are some of the things that we're gonna do here from a menu standpoint that say Pittsburgh. And anybody has any recommendations, stop in for a beer. Let me know what we should have. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about doing.
Right on. So it sounds like it's a mix of the menu back east, but they're doing some things for Pittsburgh specifically, just kind of the way that the Terminal Brew House will be as well. Doing things back east.
Yeah.
But you got to do some Pittsburgh specific
Showing that
to win the
respect.
crowd.
That's right.
Got to win the crowd.
Respect.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Mike. And thanks for giving us a little more insight into what we can expect out of this tap room, and eventually, what we'll see across the river in the terminal building.
Right. Oh, super. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Sure. Bye bye.
Cool.
Cheers.
All right. Well, tagging out for Mike is Kyle, and he is the general manager down here at the tap room at 300 Liberty Avenue. So how many times we can sneak that in?
Skittles.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you give the people an idea of like what you're going to be doing down here at the tap room, and like how you're going to make it. We've already heard from Mike how they're trying to make the menu a little bit Pittsburgh appealing. How are you going to make the tap room and the events down here at Pittsburgh appealing?
So we've already started working with a couple local places. Cycle Teak is standing out there. Have reached out to us. A couple different areas. Like we're a real outdoorsy company, so summertime's going to be big for us. We're going to have things on the patio all summer long. It's going to be huge. To make the tap room stand out, I mean, just the attention to detail, being in here, like we're taking a long time because we want every last detail to be perfect. It's going to be amazing when it'll be beautiful once it's done. It's
cool. So, like, you have this nice location. You already talked about how you like doing things for the outside, and you have this nice location that is right across from Point State Park, and that is basically one of the big homes for the Arts Fest when it comes through in June.
That's true. Yep.
I know you guys were sort of kind of half open
for
Arts Fest.
Mike was out here. He was pouring beer all during Arts Fest.
Yeah.
We had it worked out. We had the food trucks right there. Everybody
Nice.
could grab food. We were really we were only half open, like you said,
Yeah.
so people could bring food, sit on our patio. We poured beer. It was a really fun week. A lot of people turned out.
Right on.
And I think that's going to be everything that think how many marathons end right there.
I didn't think about that.
All the
true.
runners
Oh, shit.
stop right
Yeah.
there. It's going to be. Every runner I talked to went, oh yeah, I run right by there. I'll stop in.
stop
for
in.
That's how they sound too. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, casual 3 miles. Like,
God. I walked 2 miles and took a nap on a bench.
I used to skip laps in high school. I never did the whole mile. I would skip a lap. I couldn't do it. I don't get them.
Stupid.
But
We're
the
top
weird
of the
thing,
food chain. We don't need to run.
all of those runners though, they're heavy drinkers. I didn't even think that was like, especially every beer rep I know in the city. Most of them are runners. They
That's cool.
You got to equalize the intake with the output.
yeah.
Doesn't look good for us then.
We got half the equation.
You're starting.
We're getting there.
Get halfway there. You do the beer, and then you go, run later.
I round up.
I'll run
so-
next time.
I'll do twice next time, I swear.
And there goes. That's 10 years I didn't crap.
Right.
I'll make
be a
it up
long
next
day.
decade.
Yeah.
Mike, he obviously works back in Pottstown for mostly, and Ryan kind of jumps back and forth
Right.
between
Yeah.
everybody he has. But you're very Pittsburgh focused.
Yes.
Like you grew up in the city, and
Not originally, but I've been here about 8 years now.
Okay.
I moved
We'll
to-
count it.
I moved- yeah.
Good enough.
It's long enough where like I slip in a gnat in there, and I used to
Giant
make fun
eagles.
of it. Yeah.
Eagle.
Eagles.
Eagle.
Yeah,
video.
I merged it a bit with mine. I call it Jeagle now, so kind of mix it up. But I've been here long enough where I really got to know and love the city. So that's why when Mike talked to me about the menu and everything, I was like, chip chop ham, we got to do Isley's. We got pierogies, we have to do that. Yes, absolutely. And just Pittsburgh in general is such a beer community in it. Like, especially like I know Ryan and I are always talking about like other breweries around here and how we're all friends in this community. We all
Right.
talk like. A couple brewer friends of mine have stopped by and they're just checking out the place. They think it's going to be awesome. And the big thing with Pittsburgh is educating people about beer. And that's something Sly Fox has really like, we're all about that. I want people, I'm not one to just be like, oh, Sly Fox is the best ever. Yeah, it's great beer. Great. But go try some of these other breweries.
Right.
Like, you got to get out there and try every beer to know what you like, what you don't like. And that's something I talked with the owner about, and like, I believe that's why they hired me, because I'm beer. I love it. I love our beer. I love everybody's beer.
All the beer. You
Yeah.
don't discriminate. I like it.
I like all styles. I go through phases. I'm in a sour phase right now. But
So I'll just give you this chance, Kyle. What is the one big event people can kind of look forward to other than this tap room opening?
one of the big things I've already spoken with the owner about this. So for the build up for St. Patrick's Day with Pottstown and Phoenixville is they basically give away a trip to Ireland.
Oh, okay.
And they simulcast it at both. So you come in and you drink it's a day of the week they chose. I want to say it's Wednesdays out there. And here we're going to do something similar. We want a Pittsburgh specific one.
Okay.
That way you're not in the running with people on the other side of the state. So as we grow in Pittsburgh, that's something I've spoken with the owner, and I think, how cool would that be? You come in, it's called boot camp. That's what it is. You come in, you do boot camp every week, and you're entered for a chance to win a trip to Ireland. I think that's going to be, St. Patrick's Day, you have to be here to claim it. Like, we'll be full that day.
I was going to say, the hard part's going to be getting in here.
Yeah.
Well, not parade day. That's the thing. So they
true.
do it on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, all right.
So I thought about that too. I was like, everybody's everywhere on parade
It's
day.
scattered.
Which this is going to be a great spot too.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got your patio. It's great.
You got your patio, you got your beer,
You got your patio, your O'Reilly stout. You know.
you got your chip chalk pizza.
I was making pizzas out of them hoagies.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Kyle.
definitely.
And we'll close out the segment with Ryan, and then we'll move on with the show. So Ryan's back with us, and we're sitting here with empty cups. We've finished up we've finished up the end of our Pikeland Pills. So we just wanted to give a chance to go around through our last thoughts on this before we close out the segment. I think it's a pretty good beer.
Yeah.
It's definitely above macros. It's one of those things that, like Adam was already saying, it's a body of water beer because
Absolutely.
Fishing, tubing, swimming, whatever.
It'd be perfect for
Boating.
It's not a body of water beer for me because I can't swim. I ain't going out there getting drunk and can't swim. That's a poor combination. This is a good landmass beer as far as I'm concerned.
So the only thing we have left is to take it in the air, but Brewdog already has that cornered.
Stupid Brewdog.
I know.
Stupid Brewdog. Okay. I think, to go back to what Adam was saying, it's a great VFW beer. I think this is a good segue to let all those folks out there, especially in Pittsburgh, like that's a great flagship. Like people are used to drinking Iron City.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. I think it's a great ambassador to Pittsburgh beer.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Adam, I'll give you almost second final thoughts on this one. This is more your style than anybody else.
Yeah, it is. True. It is. I like the beer. I would definitely drink the beer again. It needs a boat.
It needs what?
It needs a boat.
It's a boat.
No, it needs a boat.
It needs a boat.
Okay.
Well said.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an expensive buy. Usually I'd say chips or like a sandwich, but okay. But
Oh, Adam.
Listen,
We're not all engineers, okay?
I need some reason to justify to go buy a boat.
Well, like I said,
this is what it takes.
It is infinitely pairable, so both definitely pairs very well with it.
And that's one of the things that I'm finding out through talking with all of us is everybody's coming up with different situations in where they could see this beer excelling.
Right.
So that says it all right there that everybody's finding a situation or somewhere that you can drink it and enjoy it. That says a lot for the beer right there.
I agree, 100%.
well, I think we're pretty much finished up on this segment. So we're going to jump to segment 2 and our next beer.
We'll be right back.
The 2019 Tales on the Trails Family Glow Walk. It'll be held Saturday, September 21st from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Brady's Run Park. Come on out, wear your glow-in-the-dark gear, your neon clothes, or any LED lights, and even dress up your pets to come and support the Beaver County Humane Society. There's going to be vendors, there's going to be food trucks, caricatures, and even neon face painting. You can also make your pledges online at beavercountyhumanesociety.org. There will be prizes for the top 3 fundraisers. Again, it's Saturday, September 21st, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Brady's Run Park. So come out with your family and your pets and have a wonderful night walking the trails. Welcome back to segment 2 of episode 122 of the Hop Nation USA podcast. We're still here down live on 300 Liberty Avenue at the new Sly Fox taproom, pre-opening.
Ooh, exclusive.
Exclusive.
Sawdust still on the floor.
Yeah.
Sawdust still on the floor, getting into my socks.
And it's not even a steakhouse.
Now I'm itchy.
That's next door.
But we are also still joined by Ryan, who is the marketing manager for the Central and Western PA markets.
Yes, not right on. Perfect.
Yeah. And we're going to take a little time. We're actually going to learn a little bit more about you personally and your history with beer.
Ooh, awesome.
Are you prepared?
I guess we'll find out here.
Oh, yes,
we
we
were
Steve is know himself. Like,
I'm just saying.
studying.
Just wondering.
There's people that don't. Sometimes you wonder what's reality and what's imagined.
It's true. Could be a brain tumor.
You could be thinking you're doing all this great stuff and you're face down in a ditch somewhere.
No, cosmic.
Oh, I was like, that's also true.
No, Cosby has nothing to do with this.
Oh, no. Sometimes you don't know reality. You hang out with
I'll tell you what the reality is. The reality is the side conversation needs to stop so we can get on to our second beer.
So this beer we have that we're trying next is our Alex's Lemon Wheat Ale. So the base beer is a German style Hefeweizen that we have a proprietary yeast that we use. And the only thing that makes it lemon is a little bit of lemon zest and lemon oil. No added sugar, no half lemonade. It's not a shandy. You get a little bit of lemon zest for the aroma, and a little bit of lemon oil gives you that little bit of tart finish. So I don't know if anybody's tried it yet, but
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, well, please check it out.
All right.
So looking at it, it definitely does look like a Hefeweizen. It's completely opaque. It's very hazy, but we're not talking IPAs.
Correct.
So.
Thank goodness.
I second that.
You said there was only lemon zest and lemon oil in it.
That is correct.
There's no lemon drop hop.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just curious.
So for those that like numbers on these sorts of things, 5.1 and 21.
It smells super fresh on the nose. Like, I just want to dive into this bad boy.
Yeah, it has a freshness to it, but I can smell the Hefeweizen.
Yes.
Kind of malty. Yeah.
Yep. I'm digging it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
God damn. I may have jumped in a little too quick, but let you guys have a little time to catch up.
No, man, you know what? I think this is another one that's a nice, wonderful little journey here. So you get that bubblegum sweetness up front that you get with a traditional Hefeweizen, and then finishes with that little bit of tart finish. So what I think is, because it's a little less sweet than some of the shandies out there, hard lemonade, stuff like that, it's a little more drinkable. So
Right. It's not over the top sweetness.
Correct.
Either. It's very balanced and complex at the same time. It's layered through the different taste profiles that you get.
Yeah, I find it really refreshing too, because like a lot of Hefeweizens, you'll find that they might be a little too malty or spicy, or they might also be a little too banana.
Yeah.
It can never be too banana.
Stressing those esters.
Yeah. So yeah, this one kind of falls like well into the middle range that keeps it really drinkable in that way, that it doesn't go one way to the extreme or the other.
I agree 100%.
Yes. Yeah, this is a fantastic beer to be drinking right now. But I did want to ask a question about the association with Alex's lemonade stand.
yes, but wait, there's more.
Oh, yes. Yes, there
Billy
is.
Mays here.
Yes. So we actually, the whole reason that it's called Alex's Lemon Wheat is so we partnered with Alex's Lemonade Stand, a very well-known pediatric cancer charity that's based out of Pennsylvania, and they have raised, millions for pediatric cancer, and we're just one little partner with them. And the cool part is, last summer we raised about $11,000.
Wow.
For their charity.
Chunk of change.
Dude, that's not bad for just drinking beer. So
I wish I could make $11,000 drinking beer.
Well, according to your tax forms, you have.
Well, I don't make it. It just helps a little bit.
It goes away.
Good beer, good cause. It's like you guys said, it's refreshing. This is a perfect beer. You get a little sweat going. This is going to be perfect. It's going to be super refreshing, and subtle lemon flavors.
So all those runners we were talking about in the last segment,
Right?
yeah, this will be their go-to when they come around the bend.
It has to have some kind of electrolytes in there, too, with all lemons.
It's what
vitamin C, fighting scurvy. I like it.
It's got what plants crave.
Electrolytes, I like what you did there.
Awesome. Well, I think it's time we get to learn a little bit more about Ryan. How long have you been with the company?
So I've been with Sly Fox for about a year and 5 months plus a couple weeks. So we'll just say a year and a half. And before that, I was, you guys are, I'm sure, somewhat aware of the absolutely ridiculous distribution laws.
Oh, yeah.
Three-tier system.
Yes,
It's
yes.
insane.
So, so actually that's a good place to start, the 3-tier system. So you have the manufacturer, you have the independent third-party distributor, and then you have the retailer. And that's pretty standard across the country. Once you hit an output size, like once you hit a certain barrel number, and it varies state to state, it's pretty much, the standard, like I said, across the country. So Pittsburgh, Western PA specifically, is very unique. We actually we jokingly call it the 4-tier system. What we have is basically an extra middleman. And it's something that has proliferated. It exists in niches all across the country, and I can speak for the state. It definitely exists a little bit across the state. So what that means is you have the manufacturer, you have the independent third-party master distributor, and then you have what we call an industry term we call is a tavern servicing distributor, and then you have the retailer. And so they exist for the retailer's convenience. And basically what it is let's say you own a bar or a tavern, hotel, whatever, you can order all your malt beverages through one distributor. So no matter what the wholesaler is, if it's a malt brewed beverage, you can write one check, it's one order. What they sell on it is the service. They'll rotate your product. It's convenient. You do pay a little bit of a premium for it. They add a couple dollars to it, but sometimes it actually works out. Like if you're buying these tavern servicing distributors, you're buying mass quantities of beer, you're actually getting it so much cheaper that even after their markup, you're still getting it cheaper than from the independent third-party distributor. Plus, you get the convenience of everything coming from one place.
Okay.
The reason I mention that is that I actually started in the beer industry at a tavern servicing distributor. There's a place called Kelly's Beer Distributor. They were in business from 1960 until February of this year. Oh, wow. And I worked there for 7 years, plus a couple months. So. What was great about that was it was an entry-level job, and I started off just being a teller. I would do some of the deliveries, and with regard to craft beer, you kind of get interested. It's like, what is in these boxes that I'm moving around all day? So you get a little bit inquisitive. Several rabbit holes and YouTube videos and brewery stops later. I learned quite a bit, and I had an opportunity to. I heard about the Sly Fox opportunity, and I was all over it, and they were happy to have me. So I think it was been a weird, convoluted, indirect journey to where we've got today, but it's definitely not like your typical story of like how'd you get your job. So I kind of took the back door, I guess, so to speak, to get there. Yeah, that's my story.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of interesting, though, because you're saying that you didn't really have a background in beer before you got your job in beer.
Correct. So here's what's interesting about that personally. So I actually worked in restaurants before that, and back of the house too.
Okay.
And there were a lot of guys drank, and I didn't drink. I didn't even feel comfortable saying the word beer, like especially around like adults. I'd be like, it was just clunky, and I didn't drink. So I was always like the DD everywhere because I really didn't drink. I was like a late to the craft game, and one of the big things for me, like. I remember, like, you do have aha moments with craft beer. I feel like craft beer is like beer itself, like nobody likes an IPA the first time they drink it.
Right.
And I had the IPAs, didn't like them. And I had a friend who went to State College, Penn State. And we went up there, we bought a case of Bell's Two Hearted. And yes, yep. I'm sure this is probably a similar story that
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, right. And at that point, I was like, wow, It was. That's when the light bulb turned on. I was like, wow, beer can taste good, and it's honestly, I feel like it's an art, like especially all of them, and that's what's great about the proliferation of all this is that, and I mentioned this to Dennis last time I saw him, I was like, you can use the parallel of music, right? You would never hear anybody say like, oh yeah, I like music. Like that's some weird, who says that? So, and we're at the point now with craft beer that you can't just say like, I like craft beer. There's so many avenues and different directions that you can go down. And to use the music analogy again, like, sometimes you want to put on that vinyl down in the man cave and really listen to it. And there's some other times where you just want to have some background music in the car. So to use that analogy with beer, sometimes you just want a beer that you just want to sip on. You don't want to fuss over it. You don't want to worry about it. And there's other times where you really want to get in the trenches with it and know the whole story of the brewery, and you want to get the aroma of it, and you really want to have that immersive experience. And just that's why I like craft beer.
So what avenue after you kind of acquired your taste for beer, what avenue did you find yourself going down the most? Are you more of an IPA, a Belgian? What did you find yourself gravitating to?
Well, it was a funny journey to get to where I'm at now, and being with Sly Fox and falling in love with this Hoppiest Pilsner. For a long time, it was the West Coast IPAs and like give me the bitterest thing that you can come up with, and like you guys were talking about, perceivable IBUs. I want to get right up to that razor's edge, and that was me for and then I would also do I like the barrel aged stouts and stuff like that, and and then it gets to a point where for me, like I feel like it evolved to me to beers that you can actually drink 2 or 3 or 4 of, and it still has a flavor profile to it, and it still has a lot going on, but you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's just something, I don't know, like it's just something romantic about that, being able to just drink beer after beer,
Right.
and it tastes good, you know. I mean,
And not only that, but being able to come back to it again.
right.
You know, after that session, you come back a week later and you still want to have that
Right.
beer.
Exactly. Yep.
You're in good company having beer after beer.
Yes, no, that's good to
You're in
know.
company.
That's good to know.
In that vein, have you had any experience with home brewing? I know there is a vast majority in the craft beer industry that have gotten involved in home brewing. Are you involved with that? Or are you still just sort of on the drinking of other people's home brewers or home brews? Where do you stand?
No, yeah, great question. So I've never homebrewed anything myself. So I've definitely tried a lot of home brews and very appreciative of them, but I have never done anything myself. And one thing I always tell people is they don't let me in the brewery. So. Just sell the beer. So yeah, man. I mean, it's something it's definitely on my list. It's definitely something I want to do. But I just haven't got there yet.
Well,
So
luckily, you work with a company where you can show up on brew day. If you want to.
right. Yes.
They can't turn you away. It's like me shutting the door on my cousin. That's messed up.
Right. So this is the Riverview building downtown. So it's apartments. It used to be the city office building. I guess they had offices here, and now sometimes they use it as like a long-term hotel, like short-term lease kind of thing if you want. For example, Aaron Donald has a place here. This when he comes to Pittsburgh.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a football player, Dennis.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam, because Dennis and I were lost.
We were like, he's a human. I know that much.
Yes.
He is very good at what he
And
does.
apparently
Yes.
he makes a lot of money if he's in this
A lot
building
of
with a
money.
brewery
He
at the
makes,
bottom floor.
9 figures or something
Yeah.
like that.
He
I would
makes
do silly things to live in this building to have Sly Fox on the lobby floor.
Well, that was the selling point. So.
that was the cherry on top.
Right. It's like those malls. I said, like the anchor place at the mall. Like that's what we are.
Thank you, Adam, for helping.
No problem.
But so what my point was. So we actually have a home brewer up on one of the floors above us, and he did a hazy IPA, which was excellent, man. It was like, wow, man, the aroma. I mean, it was a great beer. And he did something crazy, man. He's gonna be mad at me. I forget what it was, what kind of beer it was.
So
but
crazy.
yeah,
You forgot.
yeah, right, yeah.
Sounds like meth.
right, but yeah, he's been down here and he's shared beer with us, and
Right on. I would be rather curious to see what an operation would be like to be able to do home brewing in an apartment.
It's electric, Adam. I can just tell you,
Cold,
Adam, I've thought about this a lot because I've thought about what if I won the lottery.
Win.
I would probably live in this building.
Yeah.
It has a nice, it's called the Riverview, so you can overlook the river.
Yes.
I've thought about it, and it would be an electric setup.
Okay. All right.
You get patios on some of these apartments.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're living here, you can afford electric setups.
That's true.
Sure, correct.
or knock on Aaron's door and say, hey,
Buddy, old pal.
Right. As Adam's thinking, because we usually run a turkey burner, and that's not great inside an apartment.
Right.
So,
No, you don't do that.
No, propane on the 25th floor is probably not a great
Even
idea.
if you're like Hank from King of the Hill, you don't do that.
right, you want to find a way to break your lease? That's one way to do it.
That's only if they find out.
the HOA would have complaints.
Your RA wouldn't like that. So.
When you were saying that the home brewer lives a couple floors up,
Yeah.
I was like, that ain't all he does if he can live here.
No.
Right. Well, dude, everything's a hobby, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, true.
shout out
it's a
to
hobby
Frank.
until
Yeah.
it's not.
Right. There might have been a point in time. I wasn't at the drinking age, but there might have been a point in time where people didn't make. Where there wasn't good beer all around you, but man, there is good beer all around
There
you
is.
now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you
That's a
can't.
good point.
You can't escape it now.
Right.
It's everywhere. But to be fair, like there are pockets, especially in Pittsburgh, where places, these little pubs, these little dive bars, craft beer is expensive to them, right? And they feel like their folks aren't going to drink anything else other than Yuengling, Bud Light. So I think there, to your point earlier, Ryan, there's the educational piece there to like have a conversation with them. They're like, get these places opened up, because I go into some of these places to play darts, pool. I'm like, what craft beer do you have on tap? Oh, well, Southern Tier gave us a creme brulee. I'm like, it is 1 a.m. I am not drinking a creme brulee.
And they give you
playing darts. Like, you don't have a Hefeweizen saison.
And they pour a pint of it too.
All of it. All of it. I'm like, this isn't what I'm
I like
looking
those
for.
places though.
But that's a good point, right? So they think, okay, like it was creme brulee, like a 10% beer.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's a heavy hitter.
Full pint. It's a super heavy beer, and you wonder why you're sitting on that for a month and a half. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, and not just in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's indicative of the U.S., a lot of these small like towns where you can have that conversation to make sure they get something in there, like the Pils, like the Hefe that we've had. Like it's insane. Like these are perfect beers to slide in there to educate the old steel town people.
No, I mean, you're right. I'm in taverns every day, and you see every different kind of situation. You see places that are knowledgeable about craft beer, but they haven't quite cultivated the clientele up until the point where they can move these products. And
where they know it's good stuff, but they can't get the customers to buy in, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big part of what I do is with events and promotions, coming out on a Friday night and handing out a sticker, and that's all it takes to get people's attention these days.
Give them free shit.
Right.
Ooh, free.
And just try to educate them a little bit. And I think one of the things with craft beer is you really need the context. I mean, you got to have a backdrop. I don't know if you guys, I feel like this is one of those experiences that like I've never really talked about this. So tell me I'm not the only one. You ever like go to drink something and you think it's like Kool-Aid or soda or something, and you drink and it's like water, and you're just like horribly disappointed?
Right.
Yes.
I think the same thing, like especially with the nuanced flavors of craft beer, you have to know, you have to have the right expectations. You have to have that right backdrop before you taste that beer, and you're going to be disappointed. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, being in this business, I can't tell you how many times especially when I was at Kelly's, people would request specialty beers, and they'd say, I was on vacation, I was at the beach, everything was great, I had this beer, it was awesome, and I came back to gray Pittsburgh where it's raining and it's never sunny and everybody's angry, and it didn't taste as good. And it's just like, well, you think that has something to do with the fact that you were on the beach, at vacation.
You were living the good life then.
Right. I mean, that's an extreme situation of context, but I think, for us, I think a lot of people just understanding our story and understanding like what we were intending to do. I mean, this is true for every craft brewery. Knowing where they're coming from goes a long way in enhancing that experience of that liquid.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. And also to that same point, I know we've had tons of conversations around beer that, you read the description and they're saying 15 different flavors, and you have it, you get one out of the 15 flavors that also sets that precipice of what the hell did I just put in my mouth? I wanted to stop saying that, but I couldn't stop.
Hop Nation top tip. If you want to piss off Steve,
put a bunch of adjuncts and flavors on the label that aren't, you don't taste. That aren't there.
They're just
That's ridiculous.
A Madagascar vanilla coconut porter with a little bit of honey, and you get nothing.
Yeah, because you set yourself up to fail. And like, if I'm upset about it, then like just an average drinker is going to be annoyed, and they're not really going to come back to that, because they're going to get the sense that, oh, beer actually can't taste like coconut.
Right.
Or whatever it is that they're hunting for. But it can. That particular brewery just didn't do it right.
Right. Or they named the taste that they expect you to pick out when it was 1/84th of the flavor profile.
Right. Yeah. I got one more question. Outside of education, which is important, what is the biggest challenge in your job?
That's a good question.
That's why I ask.
That's the daily.
There's so many challenges.
It's the daily double.
What about the relationship between sales and marketing? Because
That's a good. That's
thing.
actually that's a
Yeah,
good
like
point.
talking to
I
like
know we talked
Right.
about that when we were doing branding
Yeah.
for featuring you guys in a brew box and everything.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you for the partnership. We're super happy to work with you guys.
You're
and-
welcome. FirstBrewBox.com.
Well, here, let me just say too that like working with you guys and like being aware of what you guys do. I think you talk about context, and it definitely enhances. It's just another dimension of the craft beer experience that you get with your guys' brew boxes.
I appreciate that.
It's really unique too, and it's just. You're not doing it right, really, if you're not getting a brew box. So.
You heard it here first, folks. You ain't doing craft beer right unless you're getting a brew box. And I appreciate that because without starting this company, I couldn't be here at the table with you, Ryan, from Sly Fox, and with the Hop Nation USA crew, Adam and Steve.
yes, and without us starting a podcast, we couldn't be here.
I feel like we still would have met because I would have been up like slinging beer jelly, and Steve would have wandered over after drinking 33 beers.
Oh yeah, I still would have wandered over and be like, "Oh, you guys got beer food? Oh, neat. I'm into that."
You got food with beer. I like both of those things.
Good.
It wasn't destiny; it was inevitability.
Yeah, that's what. Yes.
There's apparently there's some people that think that there's like there's infinity different dimensions, and probably every single one of them.
True.
We would have all ran into each other in some
If there's beer in every dimension,
Right.
we would have found each other.
As long as there's beer in every dimension. As long as I'm not skinny in any of those dimensions. Because then I won't be hunting for food as hard. But yeah.
Nope. Skinny Steve, I don't even want to know that asshole.
But to bring it back, so you mentioned like the relationship with marketing and the liquid, and I think you guys touched on it a little bit earlier. It's hard. I mean, it's an inefficient way to communicate is text. We communicate face to face and body language and everything like that, and it's a hard thing, man. And you can make the best beer in the world, and if it's in a can that doesn't grab people's attention, or if it's in a bottle that doesn't grab people's attention, or if it's a tap handle that's not clever enough that doesn't get people to entice to buy it, then it doesn't matter. So it's a really tough thing. It's one thing that I would say to smaller breweries, or any brewery really, is like it's so much more than the liquid. And
Right.
me personally, I'm liquid first, and but unfortunately, I'm not the main demographic that you're going for. So when you're trying to have mass appeal, the marketing has to be spot on. Right. You have to be the tallest sunflower, or you're not going to get the attention.
Yep.
Hey, and you're exactly right. And we've already talked about it at the beginning of the segment, but part of the things that have to go into businesses nowadays are you also have to be giving back to the community.
Right.
But you've already put that forward with this Alex's Lemon Wheat, that this is something that benefits, it benefits a children's charity, and that makes you a part of the community. That means that you give back. That means that you're not just like hoarding money.
Like Scrooge McDuck with a Sly Fox tap handle.
Yes.
I mean, I can't think of any brewery that just like sits on a mountain of gold or anything, but to inject yourself and give back is a way to put your name out there and let people know that, hey, these are some of the good guys. And
That's something where everybody wins.
right. And the Alex's Lemon Wheat is part of that, and that is a good beer as well.
It's a fucking phenomenal beer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you put that on the website? That quote right there.
That's actually that's the description of the beer already. He took that from the website.
Can.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's good. It's refreshing. I love it.
Yeah, it's super
I agree.
refreshing. Super refreshing.
Yeah. This would be, and I have to find a situation where we're gonna drink this beer, and for me, just as soon as we're done cutting the grass.
Right. Yeah. That's great.
Put the tractor away. It's cleaned up. You got a back porch. The sun's going down. You crack a cold can of that.
Son of a bitch. You
Oh,
got
we're
a
doing good.
tractor? You doing pretty good for yourself.
I didn't say it was a nice tractor.
Any tractor's a nice tractor.
It's a wheel horse at best.
I got a self-propelled mower. I'm pretty proud of that. So. That was a long time coming for that.
I think you're definitely right, Adam, right? Like, so it's a super good beer, and I'm pretty critical when it comes to sweeter beers, like something giving a different adjunct outside of your regular beer style, but this is just so well done, so well constructed, perfectly layered. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you guys mentioned our relationship with the local community. It goes so much further than Alex's, and this charity is such an awesome charity, and the things that they do, man, this is probably the coolest part of the community that we get to be a part of. And like I said, we're actually a very small partner compared to what they do. They do this chef's event in Philly at the Navy Shipyard, and I watched them raise. They did a silent auction. I think in like a half hour, I watched them raise like $250,000.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Chefs from around the country, or actually from around the world, making these little, tacos that are about 2 inches big with squid and all the fancy stuff. And I think there was probably 100. It was kind of like a really, really fancy beer fest. It was like $150 tickets to get in, and dude, it was excellent. So for us to be part of that, cool. Sly Fox, we're thrilled.
Hell yeah.
But it doesn't end there. So we do so much more. We make a beer. It's a dry hop pale ale, and we actually give all the proceeds. It's called SRT Ale, and we give all the proceeds to the Schuylkill River Trail. It's a 100-mile-long heritage trail out in eastern PA that starts in Pottsville, which is like where Yingling's at, and goes all the way to Philly. Wow. And so we're really proud of that. And another thing that we did with regard to Pittsburgh, we actually partnered with this startup called WeFunder. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that at all, but what that is basically it helps small startup companies raise capital. And
I saw that on social media, right? You guys
yeah.
Yes. You guys did a pretty good job.
Yeah, thank you. So here's what's cool about that is, so it was non-equity investment. Basically, you don't get any capital in Sly Fox. What you do get is 1.5% of the money that you invest, you get back. And so what's cool about that is that it gives local people the opportunity to actually be a part of what we do. And even if you didn't invest, here's what's cool about that is when you go and you buy a pint at Sly Fox in Pittsburgh, we could have we've been around long enough that we could have very easily got a loan from the bank. Right. And that wouldn't have been a problem. But I think it was a great way to get the local community involved. And when you buy a pint here, it's actually that night, instead of that money going to the Royal Bank of Scotland or whatever, that's actually going to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we did for Pittsburgh. And we're actually working with the Three Rivers Heritage Trail, which is like just a small portion of a bigger trail that I forget what.
Yes, I believe that trail goes from Pittsburgh to DC.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Shit.
Yes,
that's pretty legit.
It is.
We're working with them to do. I don't want to drop any specifics, but we're working to do something where we can, give money back to Pittsburgh and that trail. And
fantastic.
We sponsor some biking teams out in eastern PA. We actually hold this cyclocross event at our brewery in Pottstown, and it fits right in with what we want to do. And actually, like I said, that heritage trail actually runs through the brewery that we'll have at Highline. So
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Sly Fox is doing a lot of great things, and they're doing a lot of great things for the community. So
thank you.
It's good to hear. And they're also doing great things with the Alex's Lemon Wheat, just as a beer.
Yeah,
good beer.
It's true.
With that said, I think we're going to take a little break, and we'll come right back with segment 3.
First Sip Brew Box is a one-of-a-kind subscription service for craft beer lovers based right here in Pittsburgh. Every month, First Sip will send you a box full of craft beer enthusiast essentials, including t-shirts, glassware, and even food. Right now, our friends at First Sip Brew Box have an offer for you. Just sign up for a 3-month subscription and get your 4th month free. Just enter the code HOPUSA when you sign up at firstsipbrewbox.com. That's HOPUSA at checkout to get your 4th month free at firstsipbrewbox.com.
It's episode 122 of the Hop Nation USA podcast, and we're back with segment 3. And we're still drinking down at the Sly Fox taproom here at 300 Liberty Avenue in the heart of beautiful Pittsburgh.
They haven't kicked us out yet, so we're still drinking.
Well, how can you kick somebody out of an unfinished space?
You'd be surprised.
More importantly, an unfinished beer.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest crime.
Right. It's called alcohol abuse.
We're still here with Ryan. And it's time for a little bit of fun in this segment, but first, I'm going to allow him to introduce the third beer of the evening.
So the beer we're trying tonight, third beer, is our Vulpulin IPA. Relatively new year-round IPA for us. Compared to some other IPAs that we've done, this is a contemporary IPA. A lot of hops put in post-boil for the aroma. There's a ton on the nose. Use some of all the cool kid hops in there. There's some Citra. There's some Cascade. We also use Centennial, Mosaic.
Ooh, that's pretty hop.
Yes. So, truck ton of hops in this beer. A lot of them put in at the end of the brewing process. Gives you all that aroma. 6%. I do know the IBUs on this one, which, by the way, I find to be a bit subjective.
We have found that as well.
Yeah.
It's all a lie.
Right.
There's no standardization with how they come up with
it's
it.
bullshit when you're talking about dry hop.
It's like,
But anything over
Bunny or
100,
Santa
you know what
Claus.
you're getting.
Yeah. It's only useful for like West Coast and classics, and that's
Right.
about it.
Right. Well, I think that's what's kind of interesting about this beer. So, if you look at it, there is a little bit of a haze to it. So, what we did to achieve that little bit of haze is mostly from the dry hopping. So, unlike a true New England style, it doesn't have active yeast. It also doesn't have flaked oats in the malt. So there's a little bit of haze from the dry hopping, just a little bit of hop matter. And so it's an interesting blend. And like I said, there is Centennial hops in there. I guess Cascade is more of a bittering hop as well. So it's a kind of an interesting hybrid kind of a beer. I think it's got some New England elements to it, but it's kind of built like a West Coast. So
Yeah, honestly, looking at it, to me, it looks more of a classic IPA.
Right.
It even reminds me, I know this is only like 6%, right?
6.0, yes.
Yeah, 6% on the ABV, but it actually kind of reminds me of the Southern Tier 2 times IPA. It's not.
It's a little malty, or
Yeah, it's not as dark as the 2 times, but it still has, like, the 2 times is a little bit of hazy,
Right.
and it's a little, but it has a big hop flavor to it. So, just kind of looking at this one first looks, it kind of gives me that feel to it a little bit. It's in that it's not a clarity West Coast, but it also isn't, the new style hazy
right.
boy.
It's like a hybrid.
Right.
It's more fuel efficient.
Our yeast rips. So it comes in, it does its job, it eats the sugar, it makes alcohol, and then it drops out.
Damn.
So,
Clocks
Do what
in
you
that
do and then
9
get
to
out.
5.
yes.
He's just trying to get home to his kids.
Right.
I will say on the nose that it is pretty hoppy.
Oh,
It is, yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's no bullshit there.
Yeah, there is no doubt what you're about to be drinking as you bring it up to your face.
Yes.
I took that first sip. Delicious. And I just want to say sorry.
Stop plugging.
Never stop plugging.
Never stop plugging.
Hustle and grind, hustle
But
and
a lot
grind,
of
hustle and grind.
truth is said in jest. Like, you get hops right there in the first sip that you take there. But then they quickly dissipate.
They do, and that is something that I admittedly appreciate. That's one thing that I've complained about on the show. I'm sure there are people that are sick and tired of me talking about it.
You know what, Adam? As much as there is people complaining about, there are people who are right there with you.
That's
and
true.
That's true. They cheer you on and they go, "That's
Keep
my
fighting
boy."
the good fight.
Yeah, that's my boy repping all 12 of us who don't like IPAs.
We are small but mighty.
Dozens of us, literally dozens of us.
But I don't appreciate a beer that sticks around, has that hop resin.
Right.
This doesn't seem to have that. It drinks and it gets the hell out of the way. That is something I like about this beer. It does have a decent side of balance to it as well. It is not a stuff hops in your stupid face beer.
No, it's not. It has a pretty good hop profile to it.
does.
It's not piney and it's not resinous, like you said. So yeah, it's just a nice, easy drinker. This is something I would say is a step up from like the we were talking about, body of water beers. I think it's a step up from that, but it's
bolder.
It's a little bolder in that way.
A dock beer. Once you're done on the water.
A dock beer, a At the grill later beer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
And
this
you don't
is-
have work tomorrow beer.
Yeah, this is a grilling beer for sure.
Do not operate heavy machinery.
Right.
Well, that's with all beer. But
Well, it depends where you live. How far out in the sticks you are, you can do what you want.
you know, I think there are laws about not being able to get a DUI when you're on your own property. So yeah, you can if when you're 15, you can drive a truck on your own property without a license. So
That's a
or
thing.
or inspection stickers.
Yeah.
yeah, you can have busted up farm trucks that can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, actually, I believe there are.
Just
trucks
don't put 'em on the
down-
road.
Yeah, well, actually, there are farm trucks in I believe it's the Carolinas. All you have to do is put a plate on the back that says farm use only. You can still drive it on the roads without having to worry about inspections and stuff like that.
That's the life I want to live.
No, you don't. Farm life sucks. You got to get up at 5.
Let me preface that. Once when we break our first million, that's the life I want to live.
That
Once
check
you
engine
have-
light suddenly doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I know a guy at that point.
Well, we weren't really planning on doing farm talk in this segment.
This is the farm report.
Yeah, we're not an almanac. Idiot. We're not an almanac. We're not anything like that. So let's maybe do what we're supposed to do, and that's the Fox and Beer quiz.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yes, time for a classic quiz
I like it.
made by me.
We're
Where
doing
I
teams?
No,
or all
individuals.
Ooh,
Yeah.
my favorite.
I'm coming for you.
Yes.
what we got though is we're gonna have Adam, Dennis, and Ryan, and we got 6 questions, and we got multiple choice.
Oh boy.
And if somehow you can guess the answer without me giving you a multiple choice, you get 2 points. But if you get it right on multiple choice, you get 1 point. If you miss it, it goes around the horn until somebody gets it right.
And if nobody
Fun-
gets it right, you get the point.
Yes.
Fun fact, Ryan.
Dealer wins.
Yeah.
They're never easy enough to not hear your options. Steve makes up these questions. They're all hard.
That's a very good preface, especially for this one.
I've
This
seen
one is hard.
people try to guess. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to crash and burn.
It's like Family Feud when they hit the buzzer before he even reads. Right.
Yeah.
Adam laughs, but sometimes he gets so confident. He's like, oh, I got this. I'm like,
Yeah,
Adam,
go back to the
no.
NX episode to listen how confident Adam was
So
jumping in on a
confident.
question.
That's what I love about Adam.
I felt good about that too.
Hey, you were right in what you said, but it wasn't what I was asking.
Well, I mean,
That
part of
is
the equation is being quick with the trigger. So
Yeah,
That's
you-
right. That's how you win.
Well, it depends on who you ask. You ask my wife, that's not okay.
All right, then with that,
They make a cream for that, you know.
they make a cream for that, make a pill for that, make a lot of things for that.
Yeah, but I'm stubborn.
Well, that's fine.
Well, for only a little bit.
God damn it, Adam. I wanted to laugh, but I was drinking beer.
Our first question. Our first question I'll give to you, Ryan.
Okay.
And keep in mind, mostly everything in this quiz is Fox and or beer related.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. There's a chance you might get something. 20th Century Fox, now owned by Disney, at one time owned the rights to the Fantastic Four, which is not a before and after for a Fantastic Four character in a brewery combo.
I am going to let you read that multiple choice. Yeah,
Yes.
Please. Please.
They're all hard.
A. Sue Stormbreaker Brewing. B. Ben Grimm Brothers Brewhouse. C. Reed Richards Wall Brewing. Or D. Johnny Stormcloud Brewing. Which of those is not a before and after of a Fantastic Four character in a brewery?
Is this like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Can I get do I have Ask the Crowd or?
Nope.
No, you get
We
the
have-
rare chance to ask yourself. And that's
myself.
about it.
You can do a lot of
In that case.
introspection.
Man, I'm just going to take an absolute shot in the dark and say, I'll go with A.
Sue Stormbreaker Brewing?
Sue Stormbreaker Brewing is not a before and after.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. Sue Storm, obviously the Invisible Woman, and Stormbreaker Brewing is a brewing company.
That did happen.
Dennis, on to you.
Absolutely C, 100%.
100% C, and that is 100% correct.
Ooh,
Yes.
nicely done.
Yes.
After going to the gym so long, you get some muscles. Listen to Steve's questions. You know they expect the unexpected.
So Dennis gets a point, and I think it's because Dennis does a lot of work with breweries, so he should know.
That's true.
Right?
It's like cheating.
Yeah, Dennis is also a nerd, so he should also know Fantastic Four characters.
He also said off air how he records every episode of Jeopardy. So.
That's true. I have like 3 friends. I have more time for facts.
But facts are your friend.
They are.
That makes 4.
God damn it. You're on fire today, Adam.
So, Dennis, I'm glad that your confidence is built up for this one, because this isn't going to work out for you. Your question is, if Friedrich Nietzsche and Martin Heidegger were to share a beer in the afterlife, what would they drink?
Ooh, yeah. Now, you giving me them choices.
Oh, okay. I'll give you them choices. A, the humanist Hefeweizen. B, the nihilist Imperial Stout. C, the existential questions. Or D, the hedonist IPA.
Ooh, there's a couple there. I would say A. Final answer.
The humanist Hefeweizen. Unfortunately, that is incorrect.
Damn it. Then I know what it is now.
Yeah. On to Adam.
What were the remaining options again?
Your remaining options are nihilist Imperial Stout, C, the existential questions Farmhouse, or D, the hedonist IPA.
I gotta go with the nihilist Imperial Stout.
That is correct.
Good job, guys.
Which, by the
Good
way,
job.
guess who brews that beer?
I don't know that.
Sly Fox.
I know who brews
What?
it.
Sly Fox brews
Really?
nihilist Imperial.
That's the tie. That's the tie to it being a Fox and beer question.
Oh, I'm an asshole.
I was all
Oh no.
You got that in the cooler?
Nihilist Nietzsche too. Like, dude, I knew it for once.
That's why.
For once.
Hey Ryan, that's why I didn't give you the question right away.
It's true. Steve does plan this stuff out, man. I'm telling you. He's tricky.
just a little thing. I knew it was. If it went around the horn between these two, you would have got it.
I never read any of Nietzsche's stuff, but I kind of know.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard some stuff.
Right, yeah,
so it made sense.
Yeah, obviously Friedrich Nietzsche and Martin Heidegger, they both kind of brought forward the idea of nihilism, even though they didn't necessarily ascribe to it.
Right.
That's an important distinction.
Yes.
Nihilist is like a neutral word until I watched The Big Lebowski. So that's only then that I.
That would do it.
Shout out to the dude.
Shout out to the dude.
All right, Adam, your question.
Bring it on.
Which is not a 20th century Fox film and a beer?
Oh shit, I can't. Yeah, I gotta go straight to the options.
Okay. A, Predator. B, Avatar. C, Prometheus. Or D, Ghost Rider.
Shit.
Good luck, Adam.
20th Century Fox and a beer. Which one is not?
Yeah, which is not both.
Which is not both?
Yeah, which is not both.
Good luck knowing 12,000 different craft
I
beer
know.
combinations.
Yeah.
Well, I like the word Prometheus, so that's what I'm going with.
Okay. That is incorrect.
I kind of figured.
So Sly Fox did make a beer called Prometheus
That's
at one
why
point.
it's on,
yeah.
That's also why it's on the list.
I feel like
I do
such
my-
an asshole.
Unfair advantage.
I
except
do
for
my
the fact
research.
that we know Steve's
I like putting my little Easter eggs in the questions and tying it.
I love it, man.
Well, kudos to you,
get
Ryan,
it-
for even knowing that.
Every once in every once in a
know
while,
that
there's
shit,
a situation where I can understand it. Doesn't happen often, but
I hope the owner, Pete, right?
Yes,
Pete's one of the
Pete.
owners. I
Yeah.
hope he knows how much you actually know about Sly Fox's history.
Yeah.
And he needs to high five you the next
Right.
time he sees you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure he hears that part.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
Listen to me know the product.
no, really. Like,
Dude,
Steve
they-
doesn't
they-
make
look,
this shit easy.
These are deep cuts too. Like this isn't like a radio. Prometheus ain't a Sly Fox radio hit. Like that's
Right.
a
Yeah.
deep cut. So
Damn,
That's what
son.
he does.
I've never had. We haven't made, for example, like so. Just to prove my point, we haven't made that beer since I've worked for Sly Fox. So it's been a while.
Okay, I feel a little bit better about knowing that
You
then.
should, because these are Steve's questions.
This is very true.
Yeah.
He brings
Yeah.
the ruckus.
Yeah. Ryan, it is your turn to answer, though.
All the mess I talked, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to hear those choices again.
So your choices are Predator, Avatar, and Ghost Rider.
And I think I'm just gonna go from one angle of it and just say I think Ghost Rider because it's the corniest name for a beer.
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
think.
true.
That's where I'm going to go.
Okay, well, that is correct.
Damn.
You know,
On the board.
I thought that. I was
Yes.
like, Ghost Rider? That movie sucked. Nicolas Cage was just taking any handout he can get.
The crux of the question actually is all 4 of those are beers.
Oh.
Ghost Rider is not a 20th Century Fox film. It's a Sony film.
Honestly, I would have guessed Avatar because I would have thought people have been too afraid to choose that as a beer name and knock it
Right.
because it was
No,
so
there's actually a number of Avatar named beers, and there's a shitload of Ghost Rider beers because everybody thinks Ghost Rider is cool.
Right. So my logic was totally off.
Yeah,
that's
no,
that's
I
what you
would've- I
call
would've gotten it
Hail
wrong, too.
Hail Mary with your eyes closed. So,
Still got it.
yes, I'll take it.
And you're up again with the next question.
There we go.
So, the Fox-owned TV show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, garnered a lot of flack for product placement of which large brewery when they became a sponsor in season 6. If you know it offhand, I'll give you 2 points, but if you want your choices...
All right, let's go bold. I'm going to say Miller Coors, or is that too general?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
You give it to me?
I'll give it to you.
Miller Coors.
It's specifically Coors,
Coors
Light.
Light, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't even wait for options. You just did it.
Yeah.
No,
I thought I fell asleep in
from behind the arc, baby.
the options. I
Yeah.
just said,
So here's what I know about Always Sunny, which is pretty cool. So I don't know anything about the beer sponsorships. Obviously, we're upset that that we weren't a part of it.
Yeah, you
but,
should've been.
Well, here's
Really
an
should've
opportunity.
been.
So Heinz Field
right?
contracts end in 2020.
Right?
So, well, to put it in perspective, so Heinz paid $57 million in 2001 for 20 years. So that means that it is nowhere near anything that we can. But it's cool to imagine.
We'll give you our brewery.
It's fun to pretend.
Sponsorship. Jesus.
It's fun to make jokes.
But yes, it is. You can, your mind can get pretty creative, but
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they film the outdoor scenes. They actually do film that in Philly. I don't know where.
that's cool.
But the actual bar, that bar doesn't exist in Philly. They filmed that in whatever, I guess Hollywood or somewhere in California.
We're full-grown humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. So they'll film apparently they'll film 2, 3, 4 episodes worth of outside shots in Philly,
And just
then
film them in.
and then they'll go
Right
back
on.
to. Yeah.
Yep. Dennis, on to you. It's your turn. After Ryan has taken commanding lead with 3 points, you have 1. Adam has 1. This is your question, though. What is not a type of fox? You probably want your choices.
Yeah, because I don't know foxes. What's not a type of fox? A possum?
Steelhead. Yeah.
Right. See, these are things you can answer a lot of shit. You can say cinder block, but that's not part of the question. So cinder block is not a type
Well, I
of
at
fox.
least named the mammal.
Right. Your choices are the Tibetan sand fox, the Estonian cider fox, the bat-eared fox, or the crab-eating fox.
God damn it! How is it not going to be a fox but still have a fox in its name?
Yeah.
This is so misleading.
You're reading like a Cards of Humanity deck or something? Like, where are you getting
I have the
out-
internet.
I will say
The bigger, blacker fox.
a crab, the bigger black fox. Jesus, Adam. I'm going to say the crab-eating fox because foxes aren't traditionally near saltwater, and I own a 90-gallon saltwater aquarium, and there's a rabbit-face foxfish.
Oh, for
So I
fuck's
feel
sake,
like
answer the
that's
question. No.
I feel like that's still a thing. Damn it, Ryan. I'm going to say that crab-eating fox is not a fox.
No, it is a fox.
God damn it!
The crab-eating fox lives in South America, and it eats crabs out of the mud of salty marsh areas. That's how you know.
How neat is that?
Yeah, there's your fox facts.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the only fox I hunt and eat going forward.
Fuck that fox up.
Fox and the Hound, Disney, you got another thing coming.
Adam,
Can I hear the options again, please?
the Tibetan sand fox, the Estonian cider fox, and the bat-eared fox.
I'm going to say the Estonian cider fox.
That is correct. There's no such thing as an Estonian cider fox.
Although it sounds believable.
Right.
I honestly assume that they all were real, just one of them wasn't a fox.
Right. Like the
Right?
pocket
Like-
fox.
Right. Yeah, something like that.
All right. Let's finish this up.
All right, Adam. This is your question and your chance to tie with Ryan.
Or win.
Ooh.
Or win, but probably not.
But probably not.
I also do have a
There it was,
tiebreaker
Adam.
question at the end.
Okay.
To settle this. But in 2018, the Widmer Brothers Brewing Company partnered with Firefox to release a open source beer. What was not a feature of this beer?
I could say Cinderblock, but I know that's not right.
You could also say Estonian Cider Fox. It's also not right.
Hey, we now know the rules.
Yeah.
I have to hear the options.
Your options are A, a Twitter survey actually shaped the taste. B, the recipe was made available for home brewers. C, there were multiple label designs sourced from graphic designers. Or D, it was named open sourcery.
I have to go with C, whatever that one was.
C, the multiple label design?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You are one lucky bastard tonight.
Holy shit. All right.
Yeah. It was shaped by a Twitter survey. They put up a Twitter survey to find out like how people wanted this tropical IPA to turn out. Mm-hmm. They also asked people at a beer fest after it came out, how to improve upon it. The recipe was made available for modding as open source would be.
Right.
And then it was called open sourcery.
All right. Okay.
So on to the tiebreaker question. And Dennis, this doesn't matter too much to you, but you can still play.
Can I just bet a bunch more points?
Yeah, sure. Do whatever. I don't care.
You're an American?
Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Double or nothing.
There you go.
But this question goes to everybody. And Fox's Pizza is a chain restaurant that was started here in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. I want you to tell me the number of states that they're in, and then Uncle Jammy's barbecue sauces.
Uh-oh.
You can find his wing dust at select locations around Fox's Pizzas.
That's true.
So he makes a sauce called the Hooray for IPA that is made with the Southern Tier 2 times IPA. I want you to take the IBUs of that and add it to the number of states that Fox's Pizzas is in.
Can we guess before multiple choice on this one?
Oh no, there's no multiple choice.
There's no
it's
multiple
just,
choice?
It's closest to the number wins.
97.
Okay.
Damn.
Ryan locks it in real quick with a 97.
Wait, the IBUs are coming out in the barbecue sauce itself or the beer?
Just in the beer. So the IBUs in a Southern Tier 2 times IPA plus the number of states that Fox's Pizzas is in.
83.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a beautiful 67.
Okay. And closest, without going over, is Ryan.
Damn.
What was it actually?
Fox's Pizzas is in 28 states, and the IBUs of a Southern Tier 2 times IPA is 80, adding up to 108.
Holy shit. I didn't realize they were in that many states.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Holy shit.
I really thought it was 6 states.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, no, apparently they have 28 states. It's probably just like one.
You said that way too quick, too.
Once again, totally flawed logic. But hey, nobody's going to remember how you got there as long as you got there.
A champion is a champion.
Right. 6th seed, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Dude, how many Super Bowls did the Patriots win by a field goal?
Right.
Too many.
Right.
Adam Vinatieri made them very famous. No, our winner is Ryan, and Adam, you had 3, and Dennis, you did not win this one.
Here's the thing. I would like to say the first point I got, filled with confidence. It was
Yes.
a good first point.
Yes, you got a good first point in, and then you just went to sleep for the rest of the match.
It was like the Sixers and the Lakers when they won that first game with Iverson.
Just went in so hard. Iverson, I used to have
Remember that,
some
dude?
Iversons.
Everybody thought the Lakers were going to sweep the whole playoffs, and then they
That
won
did not
game
happen.
1.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, that's what I did.
But then they got swept after that.
I'm still waiting for the Charlotte Hornets to do something.
God damn it, Adam.
Coming back to this Vulpulin by Sly Fox. It's a pretty good IPA. I'm enjoying it. It hits all the notes of just like being hoppy, but not resinous. It doesn't leave a real bitter aftertaste, but you do have like a hoppy aftertaste, which I'm fine with. That doesn't bother me at all. And it's definitely just like a grilling and burger beer. There's nothing. Yeah, nothing I can say too wrong about that.
That's great, dude. Well said. And actually, just for the record, too, for those who don't know what Vulpulin is, so the name Vulpulin we came up with. So Vulpus is Latin genus for fox, and lupulin is the bittering enzyme inside a hop. So we put the two words together and created our own little mythical fox creature that roams the Pacific Northwest hopbeds. And
That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
yeah.
Not only that,
Fox facts.
In 100 years, they're going to be worshiping. That's Vulpulin.
Yes.
and I must say, I really appreciate the can art that you have going on with it. It is a
Good call,
pretty
Adam.
awesome set of artwork you got going on there. That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. No, that's
Adam, can you remark on the beer at all? Like,
I expected at least another sentence or two, really.
All right, I'll give you more. I don't care.
that was his dodge because it's an IPA. Good can art.
yes.
He got his good
Can we get like a
licensing
for the
deal.
style, maybe? Yeah. I've been listening. See?
Damn.
So,
Did you want Adam to sign like a little autograph for you or anything?
As long as he doesn't charge me too much.
He'll charge you just enough for the style.
I will say that for the style, it is a good IPA. And what I like about it is it gets out of its own way. It is not one of those obnoxious West Coast IPAs. I'm looking at you, 6 Point in your resin. I'm looking at you, Green Flash, in your retreating ways. I like what they're doing, and it is definitely the kind of beer where if you're just sort of getting into the IPA scene, yes, I know everybody has their IPA phase, but everybody gets there at different times. You might get there right away. That's the way I was. I leaped in hard to the IPA phase, and then I phased back out. You know, top facts there, Dennis. I didn't know if you know that or
I
not.
had no idea.
I actually had an IPA phase
Damn.
back in the day, and then I got out.
Then he burned out.
Must be like a
Burned
Coke
bright like a
phase.
star. Then he burned out.
It's like a Coke phase, but then you became an adult. He was like, I got works to do.
You know, Jerry Springer was mayor of Cincinnati for
I
a
did
while,
know
so-
that.
Wow.
He had a mayor phase.
You had the craft beer version of Jerry Springer's mayor phase.
And here are my final thoughts. This is a good IPA for somebody who is just getting into that phase, or you want to introduce somebody into the IPA side of things. Similar to like what we said with the Pikeland Pils, where it has a little bit of hop. This kind of takes it to the next step after that. Mm-hmm. How was that for a final thought?
That was good.
I like it.
I liked
you.
it. You have to do it all over again when we rank all the beers. That was pretty good.
And I will be short and concise.
Take care of yourself and each other. No. No, it is time, though, that we move to the podium, and that's where we rank all three beers, bronze, silver, and gold. And we'll leave Ryan for last because we like to make the breweries, the brewers, and the representatives rank their babies. But for now, I'll start with Dennis.
So what I would say, I had a great time here tonight. In the bronze category, this is tough. It really is. I would say the bronze category, and it wasn't a bad beer, it was a really good beer, would be the Pikeland Pils. It was a super solid drinker. I wish what Adam said earlier, it should be in all VFWs. So when I go there, I have something I can actually partake in. But it's a good beer if you're playing cornhole or something all day. You could fit so many of those in your body. But the other beers that we had on to Adam, shut your mouth. You could fit so many in there. But it went up against some stiff competition, right? So my silver category is going to be the Alex's lemon wheat. That was so good. It was complex, yet the way the flavor flowed through just made logical sense. It was so tasty. You can have so many. But going up against the Vulpulin, in the gold category, it was such a solid beer. And it actually looks like Sly Fox created a 12-step program to get you into beer instead of out of it. It really does. Like, so the pills would help ease you out of a micro beer. The Alex's Lemon Wheat would carry you into the next category. And the Vulpulin will bring it home at the gold category. So that's pretty much my lineup.
Cool. Adam, would you like to go next?
I totally would. And I'm going to be absolutely different from what Dennis said.
Big surprise.
Yes. Don't worry, we're still friends.
Damn straight we are.
In the bronze medal position, I'm going to put the Vulpulin IPA. This ranking is basically based on my personal taste. Like Dennis had said, these are all solid beers. These are all good beers. There's not a bad one in the bunch. So it all comes down to my personal taste. So for that reasoning, the IPA is going to go in the bronze medal position. In the silver medal position, I'm going to put the Pikeland Pils, actually. Good beer, good drinker. I could see many, many situations where you can enjoy that beer. Most of them water-based. A
Water
raft,
sports.
A canoe.
So
skis,
I'm not invited. I get it.
Bodyboarding, surfing, windsurfing.
Hanging out in a bathtub with an escort.
An escort?
2 escorts.
There you go.
There's the Steve we know.
I like that because more beer gets drank that way, so I'm all for that.
Whatever your water sport may be.
David Ryan, totally business. I like it.
For that, I am going to put that in the silver medal position. In the gold medal position, I am going to put Alex's Lemon Wheat for multiple reasons. Number one, I'm a Heffy guy. I like Heffies. I like this Heffy. It had a good lemon, pop to it. And on top of that, what Sly Fox is doing with Alex's lemonade stand, that's fantastic. That gives it that little extra bump, like we talked about in segment 2, where it's nice to see where breweries are working with charities and things like that to bring people up. This is something where everybody wins. So for that, I got to put it in the gold medal position.
Right on. I am going to be slightly different from the last 2 fellas that were talking.
There's only so many combinations.
I know. Well, I have the other combination. Bronze I'm going to give to the Pikeland Pils simply because I'm not a Pils guy. It's not my thing per se. I can definitely appreciate it more than, the regular macro just flat nonsense. Like it actually has flavor. That's a good thing. And
Step 1.
Yeah. And it's like if I'm at a cookout or if I'm, on a boat or whatever I'm doing, I don't do anything. I don't leave my house. But if those things happened, I would, and they were Pikeland Pils was in a cooler, I would definitely be drinking it. It's, totally fine. It's an easy drinker for everybody. The silver I'm going to give to the Vulpulin IPA, though. I think it's a pretty good IPA. We've already talked about how it doesn't, really insist upon itself. It's, if you're new to the craft beer scene and you want to dip your toe in the water, that's what the Vulpulin IPA is for. It's, it's an easy entry level IPA, I think. But for me, that doesn't cut it anymore. I need a 6-point resin. I need I need a full point.
Even a high tolerance of cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm the Joey Diaz of edibles. Like he's crushing 500 milligram Death Stars. Well, I need 100 IBUs, or I need a Fulton 300 that is.
You want that religious experience?
Yeah, it's packed full of mosaic. So unfortunately, the Vulpulin, it doesn't cut it for me, but it's good for everybody else. But the gold, I'm definitely going to give to the Alex's lemon wheat as well, just because it is that nice Hefeweizen taste. It doesn't stray too far one way or the other between banana and spice, but it does have that nice lemon pop. It's really refreshing, and I find it more refreshing than the Pils, and being that we're still in summertime, like that's exactly what I would want to drink when I'm down here. Like I would just want more refreshing beer, and I could crush a shitload of those.
Steve can. He can.
Yeah, those are my rankings, and now it's time that we go to Ryan.
It's splitting hairs, between these 3. So let me first off say that, it's definitely, it's a very subtle difference from bronze to silver to gold, and I think it's pretty obvious what my gold is, but I will say, so bronze for me, out of these 3, and also too, the sentiment about trying to pick Which child of yours is your favorite? Which is very tough. Yeah. Well, hey, guess what? There is a favorite.
That explains so much.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, little Jimmy.
So bronze for me is out of these three, and like I said, it's subtle difference. Alex's Lemon Wheat. It's a great refreshing summer beer. I think that it is it's a good crossover beer. Actually, it kind of appeals to some of the traditionalists, and at the same time, there's just enough a little bit of adjunct. I guess is lemon an adjunct in a beer? I guess so.
Yeah. Anything outside normal.
Yeah, there's just enough in there to fit into the cool kids club. So and plus, the partnership that we have with Alex's Lemonade Stand is just it's unbelievable that we get to work with those guys, and we get to help raise money just by selling beer. It's so cool. So this is where I wasn't sure, and I'm going to make a decision right now. So Vulpulin is the silver for me, and it's a great beer, dry hopped, super aromatic, good blend of those Pacific Northwest hops in there, 6%. Good. It's a contemporary IPA. This is what people are looking for when they drink IPAs. We make other IPAs that have higher alcohol content, that have higher IBUs, but Sly Fox been around since '95. Been making beers for a long time. We've made some, IPA. It's an interesting progression that IPAs have taken, and it's so cool to kind of watch the timeline. Craft beers existed long enough now that there's almost like a retro aspect to the original stuff. And I think original American IPAs were just kind of a big fat middle finger to domestic beers, and it was just like whatever we can do to not taste like a domestic beer. I don't care if we put 8 billion hops in it and it tastes like resiny pine cones, whatever. We've kind of evolved a little bit since then, and we figured out that, wait a second, if you run finished beer through hops, you'll get some more of the milder flavors. You get some of the grapefruit flavors. You get some of those fruity flavors, some more desirable flavors. And I think this beer is a good example of that, of where IPAs have gone. That's my silver. Obviously, my gold is Pikeland Pils. Man, I could go on about this beer all night. It's everything that you could want from a beer, man. There's flavor, there's drinkability. It works with food. And I'm, personally, like, I've always kind of been the kind of person that's like, I want my beer when I want my beer, and I want my food like with water kind of thing. But that beer, it really is pairable with so much different kind of food, especially spicy food. It does a really good job of scrubbing that palate and getting you ready for more. It's good in between courses. I'm absolutely in love with this beer. It's kind of hiding in plain sight. It's all over the place, but people kind of gloss over Pilsners sometimes, and
they don't know what they're missing.
Right, yeah. Well, I digress, but for the record, I could talk about that beer forever because I love it.
I say we'll have you on for another episode.
We'll just
give you an open mic for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to let Ryan and Dennis fight it out between who wants to do their plugs first. I mean, we're in a special position because First Sip Brewbox has paired with Sly Fox for the month. So
that's true.
You guys fight it out. Who plugs first?
Let's give them some pugil sticks.
No, I mean, Ryan, go ahead, man. This whole podcast was around Sly Fox Brewing, so why don't you go ahead?
Nah, you know what, Dennis, dude? You this is all because of you, so why don't you go ahead first?
I appreciate that. You only get one shot in my book, so thank you.
I thought we were going to end up fighting over who doesn't go first. Like, once again, another South Park reference, like the South Park softball episode. Where both teams are trying to.
It's turning into a Canadian standoff.
Yes.
Well, I definitely appreciate that so much, Ryan. Like, we reached out to you guys. I met you. Really great brewery. We met up for cigars and smoked it out and talked about it. I'm so appreciative of that. So we featured Sly Fox Brewing this month in our brew boxes, sent out to our customers in 5 different countries, 170 cities, and 43 states, which is super cool, super rad. So where you can find more about us is First Sip Brew or firstsipbrewbox.com. All of our handles is at First Sip Brewbox. Keep a watch out, because we actually are releasing something today. So when you listen to it, it may be 16 to 24 hours old, But we put together the first ever brewery collaboration with Kennywood Park. So check us out. We're going to be posting our press release about that. So love you guys. And Ryan, carry on.
Awesome, Dennis. Well, thanks again for the partnership, and thank you guys for having us on your platform. This is tremendous and perfect timing, and we're really happy to be part of First Sip Brew Box. And it's just like I said, man, it adds another dimension to the whole craft beer experience. And so as far as Sly Fox plugs, a little caveat: there was a one-hit wonder band called the Sly Fox in the '80s. So. When you're wondering why we had to put beer at the end of everything, that's why.
That's some inside information.
Yeah.
They're not around, but their lawyers are.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, and it's been a while since they've had a hit, so they're looking.
Need that revenue somehow.
Yeah, right. So at Sly Fox Beer is our main Instagram, main Twitter, and then we also have a Pittsburgh Twitter at Sly Fox PGH, Facebook Sly Fox Pittsburgh, or I'm sorry, Sly Fox Beer, and then our main website, slyfoxbeer.com. We do have some events coming up in the Western PA area. We also have a bunch Eastern PA. Check out slyfoxbeer.com for those things. Yeah, if you want to follow my personal journey, I pretty much do all things Sly Fox on my Instagram. It's SlyRye17. So,
Right on.
Sly
yes,
Ride.
yeah, yeah.
Who are the other 16 Ryans?
They're just sneaky
They're just
Sly
sneaky
Ride.
Ryans.
Yes, they're even more sly. So,
Right on.
Because they was first.
First. Well, I want to thank you for having us down, and we had a good time down here. And everybody should look forward to the taproom opening. Mid-September. Come down in a couple weeks if you're listening to this on a Friday, as you should. And come on down to the terminal building when it opens next year.
As you should.
That's another thing to look forward to.
That's
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
a good time.
Yeah. But for now, if you want to find us on social media, all you have to do is search Hop Nation USA, and that'll get you Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to find brand new episodes of the Hop Nation USA podcast every Friday, as you should, then search Hop Nation USA in your favorite podcast platform, including Stitcher, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Laughable.
For sure, Spotify. That's why I listen to
Spotify.
you guys.
Fuck yeah, I forgot
All
Spotify.
the time.
Spotify, iHeartRadio,
premium
Pocket
member here.
Casts.
Yeah.
Y'all was playing while I was in the bathroom. The wife was like, "Why is Steve in the bathroom?" I was like, "You mind your own business."
Mind your business, woman. Listen to my podcast while I poop. Mind your business.
I got
but
a waterproof speaker.
You
For
ain't
tubby
kidding.
time.
Tippy top, tippy tay. I'm gonna listen to Steve today.
But if you're on any of those platforms, leave us a 5-star review because
We are a 6-star show, but they only let us use 5.
I think that'll do it for 122. Thanks again to Ryan for having us down. Thanks to Mike and Kyle coming on, talking more about Sly Fox, and thanks to Sly Fox in general. But yeah,
And on top of that, thanks for Dennis for coming back around.
Oh, man.
yeah. Thanks for
As I'm
yeah,
a
thanks for
boomerang. I come back even when I'm not invited.
yeah, thanks for Dennis for setting this up too. Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for buying the first round next time we get together. Hint, hint.
Well, we'll
Checks
find
in the mail
out
on that one. Yeah, I like it.
how many check shows up in our inboxes. I might be living with Steve next time.
You stay out of
Hashtag small business owner.
you stay out of my cave.
Man, it's a good cave, man. That's where Batman hangs out. I'm in there.
Somebody say Batman.
No, it's just bats, man.
They're in the chimney. It's been a problem for a
thing.
while.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with 123. I'm not sure what's happening on that one,
We're gonna drink beer.
but it'll be something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya, bugboos. You have so many good qualities.